This game brought me nothing but suffering for years on end. I tried so hard growing up to beat it and just couldn't. Even when I was older, I still couldn't. And that game was Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories for the PlayStation 1. The best way I can describe this game is imagine being in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe during Season 1 when they hadn't figured out the rules yet and you're not Yugi. Just talking about this game brings up traumatic memories for me. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise and its cast of spiky-haired protagonists. And I'm sure you're asking yourselves, how would a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game be the hardest game I've ever played, when stuff like Dark Souls, Elden Ring, and many other games out there are extremely difficult? Well, at least in the case of those games, most of the time, it's a skill issue. And the more you practice, you learn the patterns needed to defeat your foes, and you can keep that knowledge and muscle memory going forward to keep making your way through tough opponents. Forbidden Memories has none of that. This game is RNG in the most nightmare abomination of a game imaginable. And even then, I have a soft spot for this game because I like Yu-Gi-Oh! So much. However, I got this game for Christmas years ago and was so hyped to see the monsters I came to love from the card game and TV show be brought to life in 3D video game form. This is what I got. Not only could I never beat this game, every few months and years I would revisit it to try and beat it and never succeeded, and this went on for 20 years. This game is rated E for everyone, but it should have been rated M for massive amounts of bullshit. But again, how is this game hard? Well, remember Yu-Gi-Oh! The Duelist Kingdom arc? Remember how in that arc nobody played by the rules and we had stuff like the Harpy ladies flying out of the way of Joey's 1000 Dragon attack, even though 1000 Dragon had more attack points? Or when Yugi drained the sea, making all those water monsters completely helpless? Or when Yugi destroyed the ring, keeping the Castle of Dark Illusions afloat, and it fell, destroying all the monsters on the opponent's field? I love how all this happened, and the one guy who intentionally cheated lost. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, the game follows similar logic. You know how you need to fuse 3 Blue Eyes to create Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon? Well, in this game, you just play it, no fusion required. And speaking of fusion, if you want to fuse for monsters, you just throw them together without polymerization. Oh, and discarding cards has never been easier. Remember stuff like card destruction, where you toss your cards and draw equal to the number you discarded? You don't need that garbage, you just toss your entire hand into the Shadow Realm and draw 5 new cards on your next turn. This is every Exodia deck user's wet dream. And did I forget to mention you can only play 1 card per turn? That's right, you can't summon a monster and set a spell or trap on the same turn. Or in the case of cards like Raigeki, you can only use that card, and after you use it, you can't summon any monsters. And before I forget, monster cards don't have any effects, so cards like Maneater Bug are absolute unplayable garbage. These are the most basic rules in Yu-Gi-Oh! That even in the anime in its earliest seasons followed. There's also this weird symbol mechanic with Lunar, Sun, and a bunch of other stuff, and if you end up attacking, you get a power bonus on the opposite symbol the opponent has, and then you end up getting a 500 point power bonus, but I've never used it effectively in a duel. I also hate the inclusion of this because when you do have a monster that's stronger than the opponent's and the opponent picks a different symbol and gets the boost, then your monster dies, even though it was more powerful. I had heard that when this game was in development, the rules for Yu-Gi-Oh! Weren't completely outlined yet, so they weren't sure what the rules were going to be. But then I ask you, why even make the game until you get a proper outline of how the game is supposed to be played? And your starting deck is the worst thing I have ever seen. I would have rather had Teia's deck coupled with Tristan's Cyber Commander. Like, look at these cards. I can't believe I'm saying this, but where are my Beaver Warriors and Rude Kaisers? I'm playing as the Pharaoh, and this is the deck I get? The hell kind of deck is this? This game gives you the worst monsters imaginable, and the way you're going to win most of your early duels is by chucking up random cards and hope they fuse into something that's only semi-garbage. Eventually, you will rely on Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon, since that will be the most powerful card you can actually fuse for. There is a section called Password where you can enter the numbers located on the real cards to have them appear as purchasable in the game. You purchase these cards with the in-game currency being star chips. Why don't I just do that, you ask? Well, the highest amount of star chips you can earn from a duel is 5. Now, let's have a look at how much these are gonna cost. Okay, guess I'm not buying that. How about this one? Nope. If I actually wanted to buy any of these cards, I'd have to keep playing this game until I ended up as old as the Dark Sage. This game does everything in its power to make sure you do not end up buying good cards. And the cards that are somewhat priced reasonably after wasting hours of your life can only be purchased once. And that's it. You can't buy multiple copies, even though in Yu-Gi-Oh! You can run 3 of the same card. So even the good equipped spells like Bright Castle you can only purchase 1 copy of. And speaking of good cards, the main way you're going to get better cards is by farming for them by dueling the people you've beaten from the story mode in the free duel section. So you have to beat them with your crap deck first so you can have another chance to get your ass handed to them in free duel for trying to get better cards. Once you start dueling them in the free duel mode, you have a chance of them dropping a good card. The main people you would want to duel are the past Joey version 2 and the Meadow Mage, since they both can drop Meteor B Dragon. But you're going to be doing this for a while. And if you think that's bad, to get good spells, you're mostly going to want to duel Pegasus. And here's the problem with that. You have to deck him out. You can't just outright beat him. And remember what I said about only being able to play 1 card on the field per turn? And the decks have 40 cards? That's right, now you're catching on. Think about how much time you need to waste to do this only to have a small chance he even drops something good. Luck is the biggest factor in playing this game. Everything from the duels to the drops. Don't get what you need in your hand quick, you lose the duel. Don't get what you want when you're farming, you wasted your time. So as if building a deck wasn't hard enough, playing through story mode is a nightmare. You're constantly praying that the CPU doesn't drop anything too powerful before you can beat them. And if they do, well, time to retry. During story mode, you jump around from the past to the present playing as Yugi. It's great, you can play as Yugi, you just don't start with any of his notable cards. And there's an evil guy named Haitian, no idea how to pronounce his name. And he's trying to get rid of Yugi and rule over the land. You know, typical bad guy stuff. Eventually, you'll jump forward in time and duel characters you actually know and care about, like Joey, Kaiba, Pegasus, Mai, and Bakura. Oops, I said characters you care about. And none of them are running cards they're known for. Everyone knows Rex Raptor, right? Forget dinosaurs, he's running this crap now. My Valentine using harpy ladies? Nah, that was never a thing. That was the Mandela effect. After you beat all the memorable characters from the time period you care about, you travel back to ancient Egypt and duel characters you don't give two f***s about. And they all have insanely strong cards. And if you do not farm, do not expect to ever beat these guys easily. And the game doesn't let you save your progress between duels with the mages or the final boss gambit. So even if you get lucky and beat one of the mages, there's a second one with better cards you need to duel right after. And if you choose the second option to leave and save the game, well, when you come back, it respawns the mage you just beat. And you have to duel him all over again before dueling the high mage. Screw this progression system. Honestly, it's ridiculous. Then after you get all the Millennium pieces, you start the final boss gambit, which consists of the Labyrinth guy, a soldier guy, another soldier guy, Haitian, then Kaiba, then some evil spirit, and then a salty runback. And only then, after you beat all those guys in succession, you beat the game. And you cannot save in between any of these duels, which means if you make it to the final duel and lose, you start all the way back from the Labyrinth guy. This was, and still is, the entire reason this game is ridiculous to beat. 7 freaking duels in a row with no save points, and all of them at any point can drop an overpowered monster. And if you don't have the luck of the draw to get what you need on turn 1, you're going to lose by turn 2. Kind of like real Yu-Gi-Oh! Now. If they decide to slap down Gate Guardian, Meteor B Dragon, or God forbid, Blue Eyes Ultimate, and you don't have an answer for it immediately, you auto-lose. And that's the reason this game is stupidly hard to beat, because you're relying on RNG to win you the game, and it doesn't matter how many powerful monsters and spells you have, if you don't get what you need, when you need it, you lose. Eventually, I made it to the final final boss, dueled him, and I couldn't believe that I was about to strike the final blow and end the game. After years of headaches and childhood trauma, I was about to end the nightmare once and for all. I attacked him, and I had finally beaten the game. I truly felt at peace and balance was restored to the world. And I was awarded with this meh credit sequence. But I didn't care. I had done the impossible and beaten the game. And now I truly know why this game is called Forbidden Memories, because you never ever want to think or even bring up these memories again. And after you win, you get this code you can use for another Yu-Gi-Oh game that came out after this one to start with one random good card. Oh, how kind of the developers to give one good card after enduring this nightmare. But what did you guys think of this game? Have you ever played it? And was it annoying to you too? Let me know in the comments. And thanks again for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Have a good day. Nath out. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Just wanted to ask you guys, what's the game that gave you the most trouble growing up and why? I'm curious to find out. Remember to subscribe if you made it this far for more content. Hope to see you soon.